Here with Terry this morning, Mr. Terry Rowles, and we're talking about some chipping concepts, something I've been working very hard on. And Terry's helped me a lot in this area. We're going to talk about a couple of those today to share with you. But Terry, why don't you go over a couple of the three main keys of
Okay.
this shot?
I think generally speaking, with chipping, it's important to get the bottom of the swing in the right place, which we're talking about today. Secondarily, it's very important to understand how the club should work correctly. Some of your younger compatriots who might be watching this have learned to play with more of the spin groove, spin mill clubs, box grooves, things like that. When we grew up, we didn't necessarily have that. So if you watch some of the best chippers of all time, they tended to use the trajectory of the ball to control the distance and roll. Kids that grew up in the last 10 years with these grooves, they tended to use spin, so much more of a lower, skimming, stopping kind of a shot. And the problem with that is it brings in the leading edge into the game. And nowadays with the CC grooves, it's very difficult to predict how much the ball's going to spin. So historically, like I say, the best chippers tended to use the bounce correctly. So you're coming in, having the bounce contact the ground first. The beauty of that is that if you hit the ball perfect, obviously it's good. But if you can almost hit, especially in this kind of grass, 1, 2, even 3 inches behind the ball, if you're approaching the ball correctly with the shaft in the right position, and it won't dig. So this is really, really important. So and in that case, you're going to start to use the trajectory as opposed to the spin. So with Randy, contact was the key point. His plane and face, which we're going to come on to, are very, very good. But for him, the key was just making sure that you get say the ball's here, you get the sternum pointing about 20 degrees to the left of the ball. That's very important for making sure the bottom of the swing is in the correct place. For most other people, especially good players, we tend to see issues in terms of like the plane and the face. So people who try and spin the ball or who thin it, chunk it, hit it too low, tend to take the club a little bit on the inside, club face a little bit closed. So what we're looking for, two of the other fundamentals we're looking for here is to make sure that the club is swung on plane and the toe is up. Now, one of the ways you can try and achieve that is through having the left wrist cup a little bit more in the backswing, and that really helps to get the toe up. So like I say, Randy did a really good job of having his club on plane and having the face in a good position, but because his tendency was to have the sternum back, then he would tend to hit the ball a little bit too early, or hit the ground a little bit too early.
Yes, most definitely.
So let's go through that, Randy. Show us a demonstration here of
So it still feels a little bit strange, being in this position, because I've spent my whole life, kind of chipping like this, like you mentioned, which is very ugly. Now, being in this position,
good contact. So we can see there's a nice skid on the ground as opposed to a dig, which is,
right.
Again, for all sorts of different lies, that's really important to get consistency.
Yep.
Well done.
Right, thanks, Terry.
Good demonstration.